Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Today I'll be taking us through how we can install MySQL Server on Mac. Yeah. So if you are a Windows user, this is a very seamless process for you, right? You just go to this URL here on my PC, as you can see. You go to Microsoft slash download SQL Server Management Studio. And here you can scroll down to free download. Once you click on this, it's going to download on your laptop, and then you can just click on it and install it and connect that to your local server, and that is fine. That's all. So for Mac users, if you download this link, it's not going to be able to run on your Mac. It's going to tell you that, okay, unable to open this file because this particular file does not support the Mac OS. Doesn't support the Mac OS. So for Mac users, first of all, you want to install Docker, right? So you want to install Docker. So Docker is like a particular application that helps you eradicate or mitigate such scenario whereby you said the popular saying that, okay, it runs fine on my system, on my PC, it's not working fine on your PC. So you can actually containerize your application, right? By creating an image. So the image is called the Docker image, whereby you have your script files and project dependencies all in it, and then you containerize it, and then you can share to someone to use, and it works fine on their PC without them having to install those dependencies from scratch. So it's more or less like a DevOps thing. So that's not the main purpose of this video. In this video, I'm going to take you through a walk through how you can use Docker to have that MySQL server on Mac. So now you can come to get Docker here, and then you download Docker desktop for Mac, Docker desktop for Windows or Linux. Whatever operating system you are using works fine. For me, I'm using Mac, so I'm going to be using Docker desktop for Mac. Right. Once I click on this, I'm not doing this because I already have Docker. As you can see, Docker is running on my PC already. So I'm not going to be going through this, but once you click on this, I'm going to be dropping this link on the video description below. So once you click on this link, you're able to have this particular Docker application running on your PC or your Mac, right? So after having installed Docker, you can come to the terminal here, right? So on your terminal, you might want to write a particular command, sudo docker pull mcl.microsoft.com slash my msql, msql, Microsoft SQL slash server 2022 latest. So once you run this like this, it tells you to put in your password, right? For me, I want to put in my password and then click on enter, and automatically you can see that we have this particular server running effectively. It's running here that it's up to date because I already have this particular uh, MySQL server running on my Docker. As you can see here, it's here on my Docker, but it's not running yet. It's here on my Docker, but it's running. But I'm going to show you how you can run it on your own PC, right? It's running already because I already have it on my Docker and like that. So this particular file can take up to like 2 GB. So you might want to increase the memory of your of your Docker here. You might come to these settings here, and then on settings you go to resources, right? On resources, you might want to increase the memory limit from probably Docker might want to give you 2 GB, so you might want to enlarge it to 4 to 6 GB. I increased mine to about 6 GB, and so it's up and running fine. Once you're done doing this, you can just apply and restart, and then you are good to go. So the next thing you might want to do is that you might want to run this on Docker, right? So to run it, you just come and say Docker run, right? That's just name. That's the name of the container. SQL Server underscore tests e, then sorry, this will be caps lock, accept underscore euler equal to y e sa. So sa is the name of the like your username, password, username you want to use. You can make this to be anything, equal to docker strong pwd 123. So this is the password I'm using for my own. You can change your password to anything that of your choice that you can remember. So -p1433 is the port that I want this particular server to be running on. So the port I'm choosing is 1433 for my PC. So this may varies among PC, but mostly it's 1433. I think there are some that are 80902. You can run it that and get to confirm what it is. So microsoft.com/mssql/server 2022 latest. So once you click on run, once you click on enter, it's automatically brings you to this point where you see that the status of your SQL server is running. So that's why you get to see that mine is already running here. So once you are done doing this, once you're done doing this, the next thing you might want to check out for is that you might want to check for some other, let's say you want to launch the image. Okay, after downloading and installing Docker, you want to download the MSC, you want to launch it, that's by running it. Then later you want to install the mssql CLI. So the CLI means the command line interface, right? So to install the CLI, it's very, very easy. So first thing you want to do is that you want to come to your URL and you type here, you say node.js.org. So you're using node.js CLI here, slash download. So once you click on enter here, it brings you to this particular interface. So for Windows, you can use the Windows installer OS here. For Mac installer, you can download here, and for source code, right? That's those for it has for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So anyone that fits into your operating system you are using, you can just click on it and download that. So after you are done installing the CLI, you would come to your terminal again. Here, this time you want to run a particular command. So the command we want to run is that we want to run an npm command, right? So the npm command will actually be connected, like connect your mssql CLI to your server. So the first thing you might want to try npm install sql CLI. So once you click on enter here, it may work sometime, it may not work. For my own MacBook, what I used was sudo, right? npm directly didn't work for me, so I used sudo npm install sql CLI, and once I run this, it's automatically installed on my PC. So after doing this, you want to move next by downloading your graphical user interface. So the graphical user interface that we are using here is Azure Data Studio, right? Like I said, for Mac OS, we rely on the Azure Data Studio. But first of all, make sure that this server is running on your Docker. So here you come here and you have your Docker image. So your Docker image contains the Microsoft.com SQL server that you download the first time. Remember when we run the first command to download this on our terminal, so we have it here. Then once we run it, we come to containers and see that we have this container running here. So the next thing we want to do, we want to download our data studio. So Azure Data Studio. So once you click on Azure Data Studio download, um, you come here. Yeah. So download Azure Data Studio, right? Once you download Azure Data Studio, I already have it on my PC. As you can see, if I used to download a particular zip file for you, then you can unzip that file on your applications on your Mac. So you have this particular application here. So you launch it. Once you launch this particular Data Studio, it brings you to this point whereby you have this this interface here, right? So this interface is shows your Azure Data Studio, create a connection and run a query, create a notebook, deploy a server. So what you want to do is that you want to create a connection, right? So creating a connection means you want to connect this to your local server. So the only thing you need here is your server name and then you need your password, right? So your server name is the name which you created for your server, right? So you can just put a default name to be localhosts. That's what I'm using for my server. And then for accounts, right? You want to, sorry, for password. Okay. So for localhost accounts, you want to um, add a particular. So once you write the localhost here, you just come to connect and then you connect it to the Azure, right? So once it's connected, well, mind you, let's use another different one. Let's say we create to be server, and then please ensure that the server name you are using, it's the same thing with the server name. Remember when you created that on terminal, we said the server name is SA. So you can see that I already created the localhost here, and then the server name to be SA, and then you put your password. So the password is what you actually the same password you use for that particular connection, right? So sorry, the same password you use there is the same password you're going to use here, right, on the Azure Data Studio. So you can see here that for my local host, I have this particular database, right? Database properties, and inside the database, I have some tables, like default tables here. So you can begin to um, bring in new query and then create your own tables and all of that. So this is how you have this particular um, SQL server running for you. So let's test it and see. So we can just say create table inside this database, right? Create table. Make sure that you're on the master because it's on the master database that we have that. So create table. Let's say students, and then if I run this, create table student, and let's say I have something like this to tell me ID is Bacha, and then I say this is 50 and maybe Pamariki. So if I have this like this and I run this particular query, it tells me that it has been successfully run. So I can comment on this. I can comment on this and say I want to select from students. And then once I run this particular one, you can see that I have a table ID, just one column on the ID. So this is how you can have your SQL server running on your Mac. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one where I'll be teaching you how you can begin to write some SQL syntax on creating a table and how you can begin to query your database. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.